Hello and welcome viewers, my name is Vardhan Singh, you're watching MSTV and today is a really prestigious day for us at Marwah Studios because Marwah Studios and the students out here, they became the witness of a historical event. His Excellency, the President of the Free Republic of Liberland, himself came down to our place and inaugurated Indo-Liberland Film and Culture Forum with ICMEI. And to discuss about this, to understand Liberland, the idea of that nation, and somewhere I don't want to quote it, but still it is actually there on internet somewhere. Micronation in terms of size, but still, what's the idea behind it? To talk about that, I have with me Mr. Arthur Yakubovsky, and he's ambassador of Liberland to UAE, staying in Dubai right now. He's with me. Let's talk to him and understand what's the idea behind Liberland. Hello and welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much for having me. Liberland is indeed a micronation we're a small country. It's only approximately 7 square kilometers. We're about 3 times the size of Monaco, roughly. We are a micronation, but the fact is we were born as a result of a border dispute between Croatia and Serbia. Croatia specifically didn't want Liberland because they would be losing much bigger tracts of land that is under dispute, and Serbia didn't have an opinion on it, and so it was properly claimed in 2015 by our president, Vid Jedlička, in 2015, and what it needed was a government, what it needed was population, currency, it needed a constitution, and we have all of these things. We have representatives like myself in 80 countries around the world, and so we're here in India to promote a new program that I unveiled today at the event, and that's the honorary citizenship program, which solves all the problems that would prevent Indians from becoming citizens, because India doesn't currently recognize dual citizenship.
Right.
But when Indians go abroad, they obtain Canadian citizenship, like mine, for example, American citizenship, Australian, what have you. They give up their Indian citizenship, and at that point, we can easily convert their honorary citizenship at no charge to the standard citizenship of Liberland. And we unveiled that program today in front of your esteemed audience.
Great. Your Excellency, I need to understand the very first idea, the very first image or the perception that came into your mind when you first heard about Liberland, because it's quite new and it's the youngest nation.
The youngest nation.
When you heard about it, what was your first idea about it? I just need to understand that.
That's a really interesting question. I'm a lover of liberty. I've been supporting liberty and libertarian causes all my life, for decades, basically. When I first heard of it, I thought, oh my goodness, the dream of having a free nation with voluntary taxes, with non-coercive government, with peaceful coexistence with other nations. It's not just a dream that I had for all these decades, it's now a reality. So I was absolutely overjoyed and wanted to be more involved. And here I am representing representing Liberland in UAE.
That's great. Your Excellency, when you talked about voluntary taxes and a few things about the government as well, I request you to explain these things for people out there, those who are watching, especially the Indians, because as you have said, Indians are traveling all across the globe, getting citizenships, starting their businesses, doing really nice things. I need them to understand Liberland in and out, so that if they have the plan, they might have Liberland on the checklist. Can you please explain each and everything about it? I mean, the government, the taxation, and the criminal laws and everything.
Sure. So if you think about it, it's a myth that a government really needs a lot of money from taxpayer in order to be prosperous. And I live in a country that proved that not to be the case. UAE has no income tax. No one legally pays any income tax. There's only this 5% VAT, and yet the government was able to build one of the most prosperous countries in the world, in UAE and especially in Dubai, where I live, without needing those taxes. In other words, this idea that you need a lot of taxes in order to to have a government was disproven by Dubai. And somebody, might say, but hang on, Dubai has lots of oil. Well, it's not
Exactly,
true.
that's what I was thinking, because they have coming lots and lots of money from oil, from tourism and other sectors as well. But what are the countries, those who don't have all these resources?
Well, you're right, and that is an issue. But luckily, look at Dubai, for example. Only 5% of revenue for Dubai actually comes from selling oil. Very, very small, just 5% of GDP.
Okay.
In other words, there are many, many ways that the government can make money. Selling land to developers is one way of making money.
Okay.
The government is involved in a few enterprises. But not because, like, for example, the telephone company, the utility company is partially owned by the government of Dubai. But you would say, well, the government then increases all the prices. No, not at all. The prices are actually very reasonable. They're even lower than Canada, where I'm from. So Dubai proved, I think, very well. It's run like a business. Dubai is really run like a business.
It's a very favorable condition for any business to grow.
Very favorable conditions, and that's in many ways our inspiration as well.
Okay.
To be another Dubai, to be the next Singapore, and that's why we call Liberland the Singapore of Europe. And so the idea for us, why we unveiled this program. Imagine in Singapore, which was born in 1965, it would have been very easy between 1965 roughly and 1980 to obtain citizenship of Singapore. They were desperate for immigrants. Imagine how brilliant your friends and neighbors would think if you say, well, yeah, I obtained Singapore citizenship many decades ago.
Exactly.
And now it's the number one passport in the world.
Exactly.
It is by 1990 already. Singapore had a higher standard of living than UK, and today it has a higher standard of living than the United States.
Exactly.
And today, by the way, to obtain citizenship of Singapore would be $2 million plus years of waiting. And so we unveiled a program where citizens of India can take advantage of a program and be able to, with a small donation to the government of Liberland, be able to obtain the honorary citizenship of Liberland, the same way that they would be able to obtain citizenship of Singapore, and so that gives optionality. In other words, it gives the ability to have a passport of a country that is the future of Europe, the freest country already, and whose governance is already very transparent, because all of our governance is on the blockchain, voting is on the blockchain, budget is on the blockchain. It's the most transparent country in the world for that.
You have 5 ministers right now in the government, if I'm not wrong?
I'm sorry?
You have 5 ministers out there right now?
Right. So there are several ministers. We have a foreign minister, minister of justice, etc. And so we all have our cabinets and representatives like myself. We have in 80 countries around the world.
Your Excellency, you gave example of Singapore and other countries as well. But in terms of the resources they utilized or the kind of system they developed, land plays a very vital role, because that's how you'll be able to invite business. But somewhere down the line, if you have some different ideas that are related to AI, related to the soft digital power, the whole thing changed. But do you think to attain the things we are dreaming or imagining of, is it going to take some time? I mean, the time with which for which we are thinking of, okay, people will be dying to get a citizenship of Liberland. How much time do you think it's going to take with all the roadmap that you have right now?
Well, let's look at Singapore as a pretty good example. It took 25 years from 1965 to 1990 to become wealthier than UK. Well, I think 25 years from our birth would be a pretty good goal for us to become as prosperous as the previous landowners, if you will. But our goal is to become the wealthiest country in Europe. We're already the most transparent country in Europe. We're already in many ways the most advanced country in Europe, because our governance is on the blockchain. In fact, we're 5 years ahead of any government in the world in that regard. So perhaps it'll take less than 25 years.
And I guess that'll be a really nice thing. Now I have a different sort of question.
Sure.
You're sitting in India, Bharat, one of the world's oldest civilization.
Correct.
One of the world's oldest culture, if we talk about anything in any terms, India is the place. Sitting at a place which is the oldest from a country which is the youngest, what do you think that what are the things you can actually admire, you can inculcate, you can think of taking back to Liberland from India, from any perspective? It might be economy, it might be culture, it might be belief, anything. What are the things? Do you have any such thing in your mind?
That's an interesting question. And in fact, our president, His Excellency, addressed Mr. Vit Jedlička addressed this exact issue. The very foundation of Liberland is based on principles of Gandhiji himself. The principle of non-aggression. We believe that government, it's one of the reasons why our taxes are voluntary. We do not believe that governments should compel people to do things unless the rule, that's why our motto is to live and let live. And what it means is that you as an individual have unlimited rights as long as you allow those rights to the other person. In other words, you have unlimited rights as long as they don't cross natural rights of someone else. So for example, you want to start a business, you can start a business. No one will give you no one needs to give you permission to start a business. You can do it. But the minute if you do something improper, that's when you transcend that idea. In other words, the minute you trample on the rights of others, that's where your rights stop. And that's the idea. In other words, the idea is that you have unlimited freedom as an individual. We value the individual, and those principles actually come. Vit said that Jedlička, our president, said very eloquently earlier today that he was inspired. He's the modern day Lee Kuan Yew, who founded Singapore, except Vit Jedlička founded Liberland, but the idea is the same. And the principle behind it is exactly rooted in your wonderful culture. Gandhiji said, he was so into this idea of non-aggression, and our president was so inspired by this. It's the very foundation of Liberland. So not only do we take these ideas from India, but we're actually implementing this. I'll give you another example. India is the birth, a lot of people don't realize it, India is the birth of chess. India is the birth of karate. I mean, these
martial
are things,
arts, basically.
Martial arts. And so, for example, right now we have a national team of Liberland in chess. So we're taking an ancient Indian game and bringing it to a new country. So yes, we're indeed taking your wisdom from India and implementing it in Liberland.
That's really nice. That's really nice. And I guess it's just not the martial art, the chess. It's about trigonometry, the mathematics, the number system, the binary system. Right. Everything is actually there. The You're celestial bodies and everything. And the entire world is using it. And that's why I think what India believes in, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that means the whole world is a family, and it don't differentiate at the level of a human, animal, plant, fish, nothing. Every living organism on the face of earth is a family. That's what India stands for.
Beautifully said. And in fact, we can prove this with DNA. So did you know, for example, that 50% of our DNA is the same as a banana plant?
Right.
You might say, how could this be? Well, it's true. The method of replication on a cellular level, we're 50%, we share the same 50% DNA. In other words, it's so true, and we can demonstrate this truth thanks to
medical science,
thanks to science that is able to do this DNA testing and is able to clearly show that all living things, not just people, not just animals, but even plants, are actually all related. We are all part of one family.
Exactly. That's really important thing for people out there to understand. The last question, Your Excellency, that I have for you is, what sort of an approach you want to have for the people all across the globe? Because when it comes about diplomatic relationships, till now the idea is about power. And power is of military, power is of economy. Nobody talked about the soft power, the power of humanity. People might talk about it, but we are still, as in current scenario, while we are talking, there is a war going on. I don't want to go into that because specifically, His Excellency the president himself mentioned that we are not going to give permissions to chemical warfare, any bombs, nothing. We are not going to do that at Liberland.
Of course.
So I'm talking about your approach for the rest of the world. How exactly a Liberland person, Liberland government official, or anyone who is in power over there is going to approach the rest of the world?
Well, we would like to welcome other countries to embrace our non-aggression idea. We think that human beings are the ultimate virtue in the world. We're sublime as a human race. We're capable of creating the most beautiful things in the world. If you think about it, the things that a person does on a daily basis, the house you live in, the car you drive, the computer you use, the restaurant you dine in, all these things were created by human beings.
Right.
And so the ultimate virtue, you could say, is the human being, our ability to create incredible things. And so for us, this empowerment of the human being is beautiful. And when you empower human beings, incredible things can be born. Look at the growth of Singapore that I mentioned from 1965,
Right.
from a tiny little mosquito-infested fishing village. It became the richest country in the world. Dubai, which was the owner of your studio, the chairman, Dr. Marwah, mentioned very eloquently that until recently, until a couple of decades ago, the Indian rupee was the official currency of UAE. It didn't have much to show for it. It was a place where you'd go, maybe work a little bit and then leave, and it's been completely transformed over the past 20 years thanks to this incredible idea of human ingenuity. A lot of imported labor, a lot of wonderful minds from all over the world came with the promise of zero tax, good life, good, easy, much easier life frequently than in their respective homes. And in the last 20 years, look, today I should say UAE is pegged to US dollars. It's exactly 3.67 dirham to US dollars. In other words, it doesn't fluctuate. It's fixed to US dollars. It's literally become in the last 10 years the playground of the rich. It is an incredible attraction. You mentioned tourism before, exactly, but it didn't become like that overnight.
It took time.
It took time to get there, but it's been transformed incredibly in the last 20 years, and especially in the last 10 years, through very progressive policies. Dubai, like I said, is literally run like a business. Very similar idea to Liberland. And so who made this happen? And the answer is human beings. So my offer to the rest of the world is let's harness this incredible power that human beings have. We're a sublime race. We're capable of most beautiful, incredible things. Let's embrace this idea that Gandhiji had of non-aggression. Let's embrace the incredible power that human beings have to build this incredible life that we see all around us. And let's make sure that all the countries can follow these models, and literally the entire world can become wealthy and prosperous. This is not just a dream, it's an absolute reality. And every country that has ever tried liberty as its foundation has seen incredible rise in incomes. You look at China. China was nothing before 1980, before Deng Xiaoping. And in a few decades, China used to be 90% poor. Now poor are 10%. In other words, the ideas of free markets, the idea of embracing the power of the individual, it works in every single country that has ever been tried. So my hands go out. I invite everyone in the world to embrace this dream, because it's a reality. We can make the world literally a world of millionaires.
Exactly. And at the same time, a better place to live.
A better place to live, because it automatically means beautifully said, because if you are really connected with other people with regards to commerce, with regards to cultural exchanges of ideas, chances of wars become zero. For example, Germany and France used to be enemies during World War II. What are the chances of a war today between Germany and France? Zero is the answer.
Exactly.
And why? There's incredible amount of bonds between them, trade, commerce, exchange of ideas. And so this idea is powerful. It works for everyone, and it's a 100% proven recipe also for peace. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for coming up with all the examples specifically, I would say, because it's really, really understandable for people. It's relatable to have something to compare with. But I believe Liberland is something we cannot compare it with anyone. It has an own identity because it stands on the idea of liberty, which I believe generated from India, from the core of India, and that is why I believe for Indians to relate with Liberland and the people and the culture will be a very easy thing, and they'll I think fall for it. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for giving us the
You're
time.
very welcome, and like I said, you're welcome to reach out to us at india@liberland.org for more information about e-residency, about e-citizenship. I'm sorry, the honorary citizenship. And it's like I said, whenever they're ready for it, they can exchange it for at no charge. They can exchange it for it as a passport, everything just like any other country, and it's exchangeable for a regular passport upon demand.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Namaste.